In this next segment, Mary Lo Mayhew, president and founder of the John P. Mayhew Foundation, is speaking with Dr. Keita Franklin, keynote speaker and the Hero Journey Advocacy Leader Award recipient. The Hero's Journey Symposium facilitates panel discussions in which leaders in healthcare, military, and communities provide a collective sharing of best practices.
I know, since this is my symposium, I get to ask the questions.
I'm on the hot seat.
So one of the things you touched on was about leadership.
Yes.
Okay, and especially with the cadets. And you know, you've been on enough investigations from suicides with the services that one of the leading causes, people were ostracized sometimes within units. So how do we better prepare leaders to identify that, making sure there's more cohesion? What are your thoughts on how we should be educating our next level of leaders, but not just in the military, but in the workplace?
Yeah, and this is such a good question because I do see that in the death review, so I appreciate it. And I would see it time and time again, and the parents would bring it up, where they felt marginalized in the unit and they felt less than. And in part, they've maybe been in trouble. And just and you get in trouble for all sorts of things, right? When you're on active duty, you could be late and you're in trouble. You like,
your hair's too long.
All sorts of things. And immediately they're out. Like they go from being the go-to person, the hard-charging, best of the best, to being out. And so for one, I appreciated earlier on in my career the documented literature that ties military leadership to more positive health outcomes for mental health. So direct correlation, when they collect the survey data, status of forces survey data, the command climate survey data, and when they look at healthy units that score well on these surveys, and then they track their mental health outcomes, I'm like, finally when that was published in the field, I was like, this is terrific. Now I have something that I can embed into my briefs to tell the leaders why this ties back to a readiness issue. When your unit is healthy, it's not just about physical fitness. When they say they feel like they belong, they can speak up, that they feel an important part of the mission, and all of these things, your mental health outcomes improve over time. So that's one. Not underestimating how people are treated in their unit.
Yes.
Like small little slights over time add up for troops in a way that can be detrimental to their life.
Yes, it can be.
And so I try to make sure they understand that, like whether they're a young Army captain, like company commander, and you might think it's nothing that so-and-so didn't get invited to an event, but this is a big thing to them. And you might not think it's a big deal that so-and-so walked past them and didn't say hello to them. That's a collection of small slights over time that equal a big thing for them. And know that I've read it in the death report of others, that you need to tend to these things.
And that's a constant theme, because you see that in children too.
Yes.
You see that in schools, the children that are ostracized, and you hit a very good point earlier on, that I think we need to be thinking about that with training, educating our military leaders, but educating our communities. And if you see something, say something. And again, this is where some of the things you're focusing on in your book, the empathy cure.
Yes.
Putting yourself in other people's shoes is so important, and we have forgotten that.
I think so. Yes, I'm surprised because it is such a basic concept, but just highlighting it as a reminder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the next question I want to go to is, agencies can't do everything. DoD and VA can't do everything, and we have a lot of we could leverage public-private partnerships. You sort of touched base on the transitions. When we don't have that structure in the military anymore, where people live, work, and play, that's where the organizations are, the nonprofits and the for-profit organizations outside the formal institutions beyond the clinical care. How should we be rethinking how to better use those public-private partnerships to create a seamless system and providing care, but building resiliency and hope? Yeah,
and this is also such a good question, because when I was in government, of course I knew as a good public health person, partnerships mattered. And definitely we needed outcomes tied to the partnerships, like it wasn't just fluff, right? That took a while, by the way, kind of getting government there. I think at one point there was even like literally a congressional order that said, like, you will develop partnerships with outside. So it's a shame that it has to get to that point. So I knew they mattered. But since then, like leaving government, being in private sector, and I'm on the board of Wounded Warrior Project, so doing some board work, now I've come full circle on like, gosh, this partnership piece is so incredibly important in the context of sustaining it beyond the personalities of the people in the positions. So we might have a great a great partnership going with between a nonprofit and the VA, and then that VA leader will leave, and all of it will go backwards. And so documenting them in very formal memorandums and documenting the idea that good work can happen. I say this as like a tried and true working class social worker. Good work can happen without the exchange of funds. Like there are times when agencies can come together and do good things together, academic, nonprofits, federal system, private sector, without the exchange of funds. I don't say that in the context of there shouldn't be funds, because I agree with your opening comment. We need more money to the field if we're going to get to the outcomes that we want. But there's always a way to start and just do good things together. And just get out of the gate and do it. And I've seen now more than ever just the power of non-traditional partners. Like over the years, we would partner with all the same people. We would come to talks and we'd be like, let me go to the Mental Health America conference and talk to all the mental health people about all the mental health issues. And how far did that get us, right? And so now the idea is also to like bring in non-traditional partners. And so I love when I see like, I saw the Philips sign outside here, or Kellogg Company, or these companies where mental health is not their primary thing, kind of getting in the fight. I think that's excellent. Also, when I was at the VA, we would have to partner with pharmaceutical companies to make sure we were learning more. If we know that medications are an issue and that people are trying different meds and then they have them in their apartment, as a mom told me, like, why did my son have 4 Ziploc bags of medication in his apartment when he died by suicide? Well, because he was trying things and not getting it right. And we know that in the field, right? Like the first med is not often
always right, yeah.
And so then they have all these meds. So like you have to partner with pharma to like find out like what are you supposed to do with these meds? And we know because we work in the field, but this young veteran didn't know, like, what do you do with the meds? Like, you're not supposed to flush them. Like, what do you do with all the meds? Until you partner with pharmaceuticals and find out, like, okay, here's where you bring them if they're not working, or here's what you do. Partnering with the firearm industry, partnering with, like, industries that touch your space, but might not be in the middle yet. Like, I say we've got to get them into it.
Yes,
too.
I agree. Or else even with the clinicians, if they know they prescribed something and it didn't work, why aren't they asking the medicine to be returned? Some simple things like that.
Can they take it back?
Yes.
Safe? Yes.
Well, I guess the final thing I want to talk about really is the workforce. We know we have a workforce shortage.
Yes.
And you had touched base on 2 points I think I'd like to sort of think about.
Yeah.
Are we really using the full gamut of availability of people that are out there that can help? With our social workers, our clergy, and I know in the military, we used to have the embedded behavioral health specialists.
Yes.
And for me, I know when I was in command, my chaplains were always my go-to.
Yes.
If I saw somebody struggling, it was the chaplain. When I was director of plans and programs, NGB, we had people struggling to come back.
Yes.
I sent them all to the chaplain. They had to go 30, 60, 90 days. These things were huge.
Right.
But you have the social workers, you have life coaches.
Yes.
How can we use this broader group of people that can help people? You don't need to go to the psychologist or the psychiatrist.
Right. For everything, right?
No, you don't.
Right. I know we have a critical shortage in the field of mental health. Even when you rattle off all the professions and you look at the prevalence rate, it will never, and you look at the future studies, smart organizations like MITRE and others that study out like how many people are coming into the field each year and what are the prevalence rates of the mental health issues and when are we going to get it to this point. Like in my lifetime, it will never get to the point, like the supply and demand will always be a problem, which is why I've been of late advocating for innovation. But also I appreciate your comment in the context of like the continuum. We have like people struggling with lower level but important and critical issues. I don't want to downplay like adjustment disorder or family struggles. And then we have like full-blown serious mental illness. And then we have capabilities along the continuum. And we right now have a problem where people are entering the system at a place that's not always matched for their area. And so the system is overloaded in spaces it shouldn't be and underloaded in others. And could a bachelor's level peer support person be helpful?
Yes.
On something? I believe so.
Yes.
Right. And then like could we get the right people to the right level of need for psychologists and psychiatrists and special training in trauma? Keep those appointments for those that have those issues and they need them. So maybe innovation is going to help us.
That's where innovation can help with algorithms to get people the right care.
And then honoring all of the whole continuum. Like it is not just about getting care through psychologists and psychiatrists. Like let's honor that all the professions on the continuum have a place and bring value, to include peers. Like I cannot stress the number of veterans that have shared with me the help they've gotten from their own peer support, either just by itself or as adjunct to therapy, and maybe not even part of a medical system, part of just life.